And we return to the Jefferson College Fieldhouse on this Tuesday afternoon on 1400 KJFF and JCTV, and proud to be joined by the head coach of the national champions, the Jefferson College men's soccer team. Coach, congratulations. Obviously, it was a wonderful weekend.
Yes, thank you very much. The guys played hard and went there with the intent to win, and lo and behold, here we are with a nice big trophy sitting behind us.
Yeah, I'm sure Tom's going to get a pretty good close-up of the trophy, and that is a wonderful piece of material there. That is, I know you haven't put it down very much since you guys got back in town, right?
Yeah, it's been everywhere on this campus, and I would imagine it's going to be seen quite a bit over the years to come, and hopefully one of my teams in the future will be able to add more hardware similar to this. So.
This is obviously, kind of a dream come true for you. This is why you get into coaching, and you had so many great teams over at East Central, and then, you made the national tournament there several times, and then you make the jump over here to Jeffco, and in your second year, you win this thing. How about that?
Yeah, I think I have to just say that the recruiting class that I had to begin this program, I think that the class of those young men is the reason why we were able to win this national championship. This year was a little different than last year. They didn't seem to mind having to play tough competition. They didn't seem to care if a team was ranked or unranked. They just wanted to go out and prove that they were the team that needed to be beaten by everybody in order for them to be able to get what they wanted to get out of their season. Last year we finished the regular season 9-7-4. When we got to the postseason, it finally clicked some of the things I was telling the guys, and they made a good run to get to nationals. Playing the number one team in the country just rattled them. And from there, it was 2 and out. But this year we got there, they didn't care who we had to play. They were more concerned about making sure we played at a certain level in every game that we stepped on the field in the postseason to play, and that's exactly what they did all the way through until they won the whole thing.
Let's kind of go back in time and kind of recap the game by game. You start off with Illinois Central, a team that you had defeated once already this year. In fact, that was their only loss of the entire season, was to your team back in September. And you started off there with a 3-1 win. How did that one shake out?
Well, before we ever got there, because I could tell that these guys were going to be able to accept some additional coaching for the national tournament, unlike last year, I told these guys, a lot of teams are going to go there and they're going to try to take a lot of shots. They're going to try to look for mistakes. And I said, those teams that go and do that are doing it because they think that's the way to win. And I told my guys, you guys need to take quality chances. You need to put the shots on goal and force goalies to make saves. That Illinois Central game, they kept coming at us, but the shots they were taking were pretty easy for our goalkeepers to come up with. When we took shots, and in fact, the big thing in the newspaper down there was that they outshot us 7-2 in the first half, but it was 2-0 at halftime. Our guys put them on goal, and their guys just kind of kicked them in there looking for a mistake to happen so somebody could score. We were up 3-0 in that game. They ended up getting 2 red cards, 5 yellow cards in that game, just out of sheer frustration from believing that they were just going to beat us. And they scored a goal with about 3 minutes and 25 seconds to go. And then from there, it was just waiting for the clock to run out to get that quarterfinal victory.
Well, that was something else. I'm sure the boys had to feel very good. And, it's kind of a weight off your shoulders when you win that first game. It seems like everything can fall into place right after that, because anything else that was going to happen after that was pretty much just going to be gravy.
Yeah, it was nice to get back. It was nice to win that first game and know that the boys were able to take the direction and the coaching that I gave them to be able to get that win. Played very well on the defensive side of things. And we just went out and took care of business. I know that every team that went there with the expectation of winning the national championship, but I just think our guys went in there with the expectation of playing well and knowing that playing well was going to help them win a national championship.
So you took on College of DuPage in the other one, the semifinals. You beat them also in the regular season as well. So you meet up with another familiar opponent there.
Yeah, and they were a very class act. We're both in the national semifinals. We had played earlier in the season. There's no secrets, just like the Illinois Central game. Everybody knows exactly what the other team is able to do. It's all about going in and executing the things that you do well and still being able to come out with a win. DuPage was 0-0 at halftime, and the game was back and forth and back and forth. They had a really good opportunity to be able to score on us, and the young man put it over the top of the goal. Right then and there, you start thinking about what a lot of coaches will tell you: good teams need to be lucky too. And boy, was that luck. We score a little bit later to go up 1-0 in that game. Claudio Dantes scored off of a corner kick from Danielle Stabile. And after that, the defense just held up and played well as they had done in the prior game on Thursday. And we were able to get a 1-0 win. And, the class of that other team comes in really when you start talking about, they're disappointed. They were one game away from the national finals, yet they picked themselves up off the ground and shook our guys' hands and told us to go out and win the national championship, to bring it back to the Midwest. We deserved it. We played well. And it takes a lot of class for 18, 19, 20-year-old kids to do something like that. So that that helped a lot with respect to our guys' motivation going into that game on Sunday.
And I know, talking to some of our folks back at the station after you won on Friday in that semifinal, you even said it yourself, you were nervous about going into that championship. And who wouldn't be nervous when you're playing for a national title?
Yeah, and looking at the fact that we were playing the team that beat us in the first game the year before, where was our team's mindset going to be? Because it is a shake to the system when you've been playing well and you go into a national tournament, somebody beats you 4-0. And that's what happened last year when we played Mercer. But this year's Mercer squad was not as technically overwhelming as the team that they had last year. And so I thought we might have a chance. We got to watch them play twice, Thursday and Friday, and I thought we might have a chance to win this game. But, the nerves are still going to set in. It's the first time I coached in the national tournament at the finals, and it's the first time that, one of my teams has played in that situation. It's the first time for most of my players to be in that type of a situation. And so, I had to, on Saturday, took a relaxing day, watched Ohio State, Michigan play.
Who didn't?
And just kind of, thought to myself, what's going to be the key for us to be able to win this game? And, one of the big things that I thought before the game was we got to play a lot of guys. They were only playing 11, 12 guys on their roster all weekend long. And I just thought we got to run them and run them and run them, and we got to play a lot of guys. I played 18 or 19 guys in that game, and it worked. They started to tire out towards the end of the second half of that game. They couldn't mount very much offense to be able to do a lot of dangerous things in the second half. And it was a game that I felt as the time wound down that we were going to have more and more of a chance to win.
How did you set up the game-winning goal? You go into overtime tied at 1, and how did the winning goal come in? I know it came in very late in the second overtime, so you were awfully close to getting to perhaps a penalty kick situation. Would that have come into play after the second overtime?
Yeah, it was funny. The other coach came to me at the end of regulation, and he said he didn't really want to go to penalty kicks, and had asked me if I had a problem if we named co-national champions. Well, I knew the rules were going to say somebody had to win, so I just told him sure. I said, I don't have a problem with it if you don't, and he went to talk to them, and they told him absolutely not, somebody's got to win. So I think the situation was such that he was very fixated on trying to get out of there with even just a piece of a national championship. And not so, yeah. And he was, I think he was worried. I think he was very concerned that he could see his team was tiring just like we could see it. And in that overtime, it was actually the first overtime period, Brian Maringer punted a long ball about 70 yards, and Claudio Dantes went up and won the head ball and flicked it into the path of Ramon Silva. And Ramon, as he and I have talked about numerous occasions this year, last year, Ramon, take your time. He always thinks that if he sees a man coming, he doesn't have time, he's got to shoot right away. Take your time, pick your spot, and put the ball away. And, you know, when I saw him bring the ball down, I thought, okay. I saw him square shoulders to the goal. I thought, all right, he's going to take his time. As soon as the goalie left his line, he played the ball past the goalkeeper. And I didn't even see the ball go in the goal. As soon as he got past the goalkeeper, I knew it was on goal, and I just started celebrating. Everybody was probably looking at me like I was crazy, but I knew that ball was going to go in as soon as it got past the goalkeeper, and I didn't even hear the other players and people react until maybe 3 or 4 seconds after I had already started celebrating.
That just had to been just sheer jubilation for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they always tell you, anytime you have a chance to play in a big game, you know, that is just, you know, that can make a whole career. But when you win one, it's just unbelievable. I think even now it hasn't fully sunk in, it hasn't fully digested, because, you know, we got back at 5:30 in the morning, Monday morning, and, you know, I went home, came back with the trophy to share with, you know, the president and deans and all of that. And then they sent me home because they could see I was exhausted. And they, then when I came back, I went home, rested, came back today. Haven't really been anywhere else but here or on that bus. So it's been a situation for me that I guess, you know, a lot of people here are very proud of what this team has accomplished this year. And, you know, other than being here, I haven't been anywhere else. So I don't think fully it has really set in yet that, you know, we're the #1 team in the nation and we just won a national championship. I mean,
it's special. There's
yes,
no doubt about that.
Definitely.
Well, you look at what this is going to do for the program. I mean, number one, your program goes down in history now. You know, this program will. No question about it. Everybody that's on your roster had something to do with it. Every sophomore, every freshman, every assistant coach, you know, everybody's going to have that on their resume for the rest of their life. And also, you think about what this is going to do for recruiting as well. And that could be something special, too.
Yeah, I mean, and you expect to get a lot of students, a lot of soccer players, a lot of athletes out there that are going to want to go to Jefferson College because we won the national championship. But you know what? It's going to make mine and my assistant coaches' jobs that much harder to make sure we keep getting quality student athletes, those student athletes that are going to buy into not just the soccer side, but also the academic side of what we do with our program.
Then you also look at it like this as well. Since you're in the national tournament, you win the whole thing, you're national champs. I mean, look at the list of kids that you're probably going to have as All-Americans now, too.
Yeah.
I mean this is going to get their names out there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the four-year coaches have been ringing the phone off the hook looking for these sophomores, because you take a first-year program to nationals, people say, oh, you know, you started the program out right. You take a second-year program and you win nationals, now those coaches are saying, you got players that we want because they can play at our level and help us do the same thing they helped you do. So a lot of these guys, as long as they stick with the academics, which they've done very well so far, the majority of them, 12 of the 14, are definitely going to graduate in May, which also helps those four-year schools to feel comfortable that they don't have to wait all the way through until July for them to graduate. And it's going to give them a lot of opportunities to be able to kind of pick and choose where it is they like to play their next 2 years at. I mean, I cleared my email box on Sunday before the national championship and opened it up today. There was 42 emails in there. So there's a lot of interest in these players, and I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon.
Yeah, probably not. That's for sure. Yeah, looking back on it, you know, these, you know, everybody on this team is obviously very special to you, but maybe even more so with the sophomores. I mean, they were the guys that were here that set the tone for what you want this program to be, and these are the guys that, you know, kind of led this team to getting it done.
Yeah, I mean, those guys will always be special because they trusted in me without a program being in place. They said, okay, you're telling us all this is going to happen. You're telling us we're going to have a good schedule. We're going to have a good team. Okay, we're going to trust you. We're going to come in. We're going to play for you. And, you know, it takes a lot for kids to do that, because there was a number of kids that they were like, first year program, you're going to get beat all the time. I don't think I can deal with that. You know, my high school team was good, or they say I want to play for a better team than what you're going to be able to have as a first year program. Yeah, we like you, coach. You're a nice guy, but, you know, I want to win. And, you know, so you had the two sides of the spectrum, but this group, these 14 that trusted in the fact that what I was doing was not going to be in vain, and what I was trying to build here was going to be immediate rather than 5 or 6 years down the line. They benefit from it as well as I do, from being able to have had such a important freshman class of 2005 who turned around to be national champions in 2006.
That's something else, no doubt about it. Well, I know you got a lot of guys that you know, really have garnered some national attention. Ricardo Atti was a guy that was really a huge part of your team last year. He picked up right where he left off this year as well. I think he was one of the guys that was among the scoring leaders in the country. Is that right?
Yes. He reinvented himself for us. You know, last year he was playing up top when he came in, dropped him into the central of midfield with Judner Joseph, formulated a very good attacking team in the middle of the park, very good defensive structure in the middle of the park, which made us a very, very tough team to beat towards the latter stages of last year. You know, Ricardo led the team in goals last year. This year he comes back, takes a much more defensive-minded role. Still got some goals out of him. I believe he scored 7 or 8 goals this year, had 10 or 11 assists this year, but much more quiet this year than it was last year because we had to have his production last year, and this year his production was a bonus to the 102 goals we scored on the year. But no matter what, the young man has a lot of class. He does whatever it takes for his team to win, and those are the kind of players that I like to have on my team, because if you ask a young man to move to a different position and play out of the position because you think it's going to help the team and they tell you no, you have to wonder how dedicated they are to winning. When young men say, you know, he came to me and he on Saturday night and he's like, Coach, if Stanley's hurt, because Stanley Mastering got hurt in the national semifinals, he goes, I'll play sweeper. He goes, it's not my position, but if it's going to be the difference between winning and losing the national championship, I'll play sweeper. And that's just the type of kid Ricardo is.
That's fantastic. You can't buy that kind of dedication sometimes.
Definitely not.
Tell us a little bit about Kevin McWilliams. He's a guy that played locally at St. Pius. He was part of a couple of teams that got to the state finals a couple times, came up a little bit short. Now he's part of a national championship team. How has his progression come along for being a freshman?
You know, I think he's learned a lot this year, because I think that, you know, he had been one of those players that for his high school and club team didn't really have to do a whole lot to change his game. Didn't really have to work any harder than he needed to work because he was already a good enough player at the level that he was playing at. And I think when he came here, he saw how many good players we had at Jefferson College, and his work ethic picked up. You know, his conditioning, it picked up. His knowledge of the game, his ability to read the game, his ability to play faster, it all came to him throughout the season. And I think his learning curve this year is going to make him a valuable asset to us in 2007 when we step back on the field, because he showed us some things, especially in the postseason, that made me and my assistant coach think, yeah, he's going to be somebody we're going to be looking to in 2007 to be able to help us get back to nationals and possibly have a chance to repeat.
Well, Coach, as always, we thank you very much for the time. Congratulations on your national championship. Wonderful job, and only in its second year with the program, you got this done. It's incredible. It's a heck of a story, and it's from a lot of hard work and good players.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I have to give it to these guys because they didn't get rattled. They stayed very, very calm. I mean, there were moments where people on the bench got more nervous than the guys that were actually playing the game. But, you know, it was a total commitment by, you know, those 27 young men as a team going down to Tyler, Texas, that one game at a time, one opponent at a time, they were going to win a national championship. And that is exactly what they went down there and did. I believe they deserve everything that they get from here on out, because these guys were just so dedicated to everything that I asked them to do, both on and off the field, that I believe that, you know, those four-year coaches just don't know how good of a crop of guys they're recruiting right now. And I think one day they'll figure it out. But right now, I know what I have and what I'm losing and what it's going to take in order to be able to put together a team anywhere close to the one that we had this year.
Well, these guys won't forget Tyler, Texas anytime soon, that's for sure.
No, definitely not.
Congratulations, Coach. Thanks a lot for the time today.
Thank you very much.
That is Steve Peck, head coach of the Jefferson College men's soccer program. We've got more ahead. We'll be back in a couple of minutes on 1400 KJFF and JCTV.